Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1. I am so glad I'm a prepper. The year 2020 is going to go down in the history books. There's been a lot of things that have been very negative for people, and being a prepper has definitely given me the ability to weather the storm a little bit better, to feel more confident, to have more peace in my life, because I know I've taken care of a lot of issues that it's going to affect a lot of people, be it from food to water to shelter, security. My family is a lot safer. 2020, man, we need to reboot, go back and start the year over if we could, but we can't. We started off with the pandemic and the virus and the closing of government, closing of businesses, and now we're at the point of reopening. I pray that we can get this thing going again and try to get people back to work. There's over 40 million people unemployed. This is huge numbers, unprecedented. So hopefully we can get back on track. Then you have the incident with George Floyd. Some of you probably know it, but most don't. Criminal justice was my major in college. I'm not a police officer for many reasons. I have a desire to be a help to people, but I don't really want to be an officer in a big department. Because a lot of things happen with police officers. There's a lot of great officers. I have so many police officers as friends. So I'm painting with a really big brush, but the majority of them are good guys. There are some bad guys. I know them because, you know, guys get fired from one department. I know this is fact because they do something stupid, and then they just go over to another department because officers are needed everywhere, and they get hired. And really, they need to have their name erased off a list or something, because they're not quality people. Yeah, people can make mistakes, but when you make mistakes over and over, and especially when you mistreat people or violate people's constitutional rights, you should never be in law enforcement. There's plenty of jobs for you to do out there. Having the authority of a gun and a badge and life and death in your hand, you got to be a person with great character, integrity, and have a moral compass that is dead straight. So yes, we need to fix some problems. I saw the video, heartbroken, total heartbroken, watching that man suffer. He was cuffed, he was on the ground. Normally you need to get that man, roll him onto his back or get him onto his butt, anything. Because it's very hard to breathe when you're on your stomach with cuffs behind your back. It's difficult. You add any type of weight on that person, you can have some severe problems. To this day, I'm blown away at that man, the officer, putting his knee into his neck for that long. I can see a few seconds if necessary to get cuffs on for the safety of everyone involved, but the time that he left that knee in there is unacceptable. I don't know what the charges should be, first, second, third, manslaughter. It doesn't matter to me. All I know is my heart said that was wrong. And not having any of the other officers give him a little nudge and say, hey man, we got him, take your knee off his throat or off his neck. Why didn't they do that? They all need to be in trouble. I don't know, criminal, if you could criminally charge them. But to me, my moral compass was saying, this is wrong. Cuff the man and don't inflict any more punishment or pain on him. I know a lot of officers, and I talk to them, and it's called piling on. When you get someone down, they get their licks in. You might have a bad day as a police officer, got ran from you. If you don't think you're a black man and you get caught running from cops, you're not going to get roughed up. It's not right, totally not right. I've arrested people in the military. Being overseas, I've detained them. I really wouldn't call it arresting. I have detained people, taken them into my custody. I flex cuffed them, put in my Humvee. One situation I had was another sergeant started roughing up one of my prisoners that I have cuffed. Is in my charge. I lost it. I'm in charge of that man. When I take him to custody and I put flex cuffs on him and put him in a Humvee, he is my property. I'm 100% responsible for him. Another officer that was involved in chasing him down started smacking a little bit, and that set me off. Because my moral compass says don't do that. You might want to do it, but being in a position of authority, you have to be held to a higher standard. You have to know, hey, I have to keep my emotions in check, because that's what I'm being paid to do. Hopefully, this situation will calm down. Now I want to address the rioters, the looters, the thugs, the criminals. They need to be stopped. They need to be quickly stopped. And you need to use force, whatever it takes to stop them. And you might say, well, nothing's worth their lives. Burning down people's property or burning cars down, it's not worth using deadly force against them. I don't know what the law is in the sense of, when it's time to use deadly force if someone sets a building on fire that potentially could have people in it. But I'm just an average Joe. I work hard every day, take care of my family, and it's getting me, I'm getting sick and tired of it. The thugs. People say, well, they're coming in from other parts of the country. Doesn't matter where they're coming in. They have an environment that will let them do that. Where are the good people that live there? You need to stand up in mass. You need to protect your businesses, not just like with one or two people. You need to show the bad guys that, hey, do not burn my livelihood down. They're saying, well, one guy died, we can do all this. Hundreds and thousands of people will be without jobs directly related to all of this destruction of buildings being burnt down. If you own a small business and you put your heart and soul in it for years, 30 years, some of these people have, their whole life, and it gets taken from you in a second because someone wants to ransack your store, I don't see any justification in it. They're using this poor man's death as an excuse. It also shows me that the powers that be, being local, state, federal, can't control anything. If you've ever been to a hurricane, it's total destruction. There's no one in charge. The state is not in charge. They're not in charge until weeks and weeks and weeks later. So to me, it's another reason to become a prepper, and a hardcore prepper. The illusion of society is an illusion. We don't really have anything holding us together, just a very thin layer of civility, and that can be broken in a second as demonstrated. I'm worried about further into 2020 if we do fall into a Great Depression, if the dollar collapses. What you're seeing now would be nothing compared to an economic situation that would cause riots, because more people would be out there, more people would be desperate. These people aren't really that desperate. They're just using this as an excuse to loot and be criminals. So I'm asking law enforcement, National Guard, do your best. Protect these people's property, protect these people's lives. I wish I could do something for them, but I can't. If it happened locally, I would. I would be there with some property owners. I know some business owners, and if they had their property threatened, I'm sure I could come up with 30, 40, 50 well-armed and well-trained guys to go protect their business. That would not be a problem. I'd take a phone call, and I could have a convoy of people ready to protect businesses. And it might happen one day in my area. Luckily, my area has had some very minute problems, but if they did, I'd be willing to stand in the gap. Do you think I'm not looking for trouble? I would pray if I had to go do that the whole night, it'd be boring. We would just sit there in the parking lot and talk and maybe drink some sodas and eat some snacks and have a good time of fellowship with like-minded individuals that care about other people and care about our country. So 2020 is going to be an interesting half of the year. We're not even halfway over. Look at your preps. I still think an economic problem is going to occur, and I've always preached that from the first day. That's my biggest threat, is economics. We use a dollar bill that is worth absolutely nothing, just faith and trust of the American people, and really now of the world, and that can go at any time. So hopefully you're not in any parts of the United States that you're worried about your physical safety or your property safety. And if you are, we're praying for you, and we're praying for law enforcement, and we're mostly praying for George's family, for peace in their family, seeing this man was taken from them. I've been reading good things about George. I don't know, who's putting this information out, but it doesn't sound like George was a gangbanger or anything bad. Sounded like he was a stand-up guy. And hopefully that's the case as we further look into George's life. Hopefully there's nothing bad that comes up. So he did not deserve to die in this way. No human deserves to die. I'm looking forward to the autopsy report. But I can tell you what I know, having a neck in your neck could contribute to your death. Even if you have an underlying medical condition, when you can't breathe and you tell an officer or another human being, I can't breathe, you should, as an officer, have enough kindness, enough compassion to relieve that suffering. Prep hard. Thanks for watching.